So you've probably seen him around. ThePrimeagen, that super high-energy programmer who used to work at Netflix. But here's the thing. The most incredible thing about him isn't the code he builds. It's the story of how he was built. We're about to dive into one of the most inspiring and honestly unconventional journeys in the entire tech world.
Just think about that for a second. What kind of moment makes you feel like you can build anything? For the ThePrimeagen, that feeling, well, it wasn't a gift, it was forged. And to really understand the breakthrough, you first have to understand the breakdown.
All right, Section 1, the programmer and the person. His philosophies on work and life, they weren't cooked up in a classroom. No, they were forged in a crucible of some really profound personal struggle.
Yeah, his passion for creating things, for building, it was born from a really difficult climb, one that started at the absolute bottom.
Which brings us to Section 2, a difficult beginning. His climb began from a point so low it's hard to imagine, a complete downward spiral that started way back in his youth. So get this timeline. At just 7 years old, his father passes away. By age 8, he's already being exposed to drugs. High school was just a nightmare of isolation and bullying that got so bad it culminated in a suicide attempt right at graduation. After that, he fell deep into heavy drug use. We're talking meth, LSD, just a total descent into a life that felt like it had no future whatsoever.
And while all that chaos was happening on the outside, there was this deep internal battle raging. He's talked openly about how his addiction to pornography was the single hardest thing he ever had to quit, a constant source of shame that just consumed his thoughts for years.
So on to Section 3, the turning point. I mean, how do you escape a spiral like that? How do you pull up from that nosedive? For him, the answer came in a single, life-altering moment.
Really, when you're that far down, what pulls you back up? For him, it wasn't some sudden act of willpower. It was something more like an intervention.
He was 19, and he describes feeling this dramatic and real presence of God that laid out a choice for him, clear as day. Keep going down this road or change. He chose to change. And the wild thing is, nothing in his external life changed that night. But when he woke up, he had something new, a conscience, this profound sense of shame for his actions that became the powerful motivation he desperately needed to redirect his life.
Which leads us to Section 4, work hard, get smart. Because, you see, making that choice, that was just the beginning. The real work, the grind that would forge his entire philosophy, was just about to start.
This right here, this defines his whole approach. You know the classic saying, work smarter, not harder? He hates it, because it assumes you already know what smarter is. His philosophy is the complete opposite. Work hard, get smart. The idea is that you have to earn the smarter path through sheer brute force effort. You grind until you finally discover what smarter even looks like.
And oh boy, did he live this philosophy. When he decided to get serious about school, he was not a natural. He took pre-calculus and failed. He took it again and failed again. It was only on his third try, after countless hours of grinding, that he finally passed with a C. This wasn't about being a genius. It was about pure, relentless effort. And then, the payoff. After barely scraping through pre-calc on his third attempt, he sits down for the 2-hour Calculus 1 final. He finished it in 30 minutes. Not only that, he had the highest score in the entire school. The grind hadn't just gotten him through the door. It had literally rewired his brain for mastery.
And that brings us to the final section, the joy of programming. This new discipline, this love for the grind, it led him straight to the moment that would define his entire career.
It all happened in a data structures class. The topic of the day was a linked list. It's a pretty simple concept, really. Just imagine a chain where each link holds a piece of data, and it only knows about one other thing, how to get to the very next link. That's it.
But when the professor showed the actual code, a class that contained a reference to itself, something just clicked. His mind exploded. In that simple, self-referential loop, he didn't just see a data structure, he saw infinity. He saw a way to express limitless ideas with just a few simple rules.
And this is the heart of his entire story. For someone whose life had been completely defined by dead ends, addiction, and limitations, the idea of a simple structure creating infinite potential wasn't just about programming. It was a metaphor for his own transformed life. That was the moment he felt like he could build anything.
The ThePrimeagen's journey just proves that the smarter way is something you earn through the grind. It reminds us all that passion, it often waits for us on the other side of struggle. So the question is, what hard problem in your life is just waiting to reveal its magic to you?